And can you give us some more examples? What other work have you done around Ireland in terms of about coastal protection?
Well, I've done a lot of studies just looking at the coastal environment. So, for instance, sort of you're trying to understand how the coastline behaves, and every section of coastline, behaves in a different manner. Say, for instance, sort of back in 2008 down in ROSSBEIGH in County Kerry, there was a beach system there, and the dune system was breached by a large storm. So we've been looking at the behaviour of that system since, in terms of its recovery and where the sand has been going. So when the dune system breached, the solution that was being proposed at the time was that we should try and repair it and fix it. Sort of, and I think what our study has...
Beach replenishment, is it?
Yeah, beach replenishment, or building a structure there, sort of, because the water was coming in into the area behind the dune system. But our study has shown that, that such events could have happened previously in ROSSBEIGH, that it's a long-term morphological behaviour of the local system, where you can get redistribution of the sediment, you see. So what we've been studying is that the sediment it's being eroded from the beach, and it's being carried offshore into bars. So there's huge offshore bars in Dingle Bay now off ROSSBEIGH Beach, which are being slowly migrating back towards the shoreline. So our sort of 20-30 year prediction of ROSSBEIGh is that you could get replenishment of the dunes naturally, and build up of the beach again.
And you achieved it through numerical modelling, isn't it?
Through numerical modelling, yeah. And like beach monitoring, so we're monitoring where the sand is going, and then we're trying to match that with the numerical models.
Have you actually used the data collected during monitoring for your model?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, so we're trying to validate the model using the data we measure. So we take surveys down there every year, so we see where the sand is moving.
And what methods do you employ for your coastal monitoring in ROSSBEIGH?
We started off with sort of just a GPS and walk it. Now we're using drones, so we have a drone that flies the beach system, and we can pick up the levels, and as well as that we have
a drone. Do you actually see the elevation of sand, or do you only look at the position of the coastline?
No, we get the elevation of the sand. So
So you're not using a normal camera?
No, well, we are using normal camera, but we're using photogrammetric techniques to get the levels. So what we're doing is that we at various points along the beach, we put down markers of known levels, and then we relate the levels of the beach to those markers. Then so we do level surveys of the beach to determine what changes have occurred. And as well as that, sort of drone surveys can only do the visible beach. It's what's offshore is important as well.
So in the intertidal area.
That's right, and even beyond that, so where the sand is going, so the sand is somewhere offshore. So where is it offshore is the question. So we have a jet ski where we fitted an echo sounder to...
Multi-beam, is it?
No, it's just a single beam, so we can go out and we can survey the near shore area and determine, sort of where the sand is, where the sandbars are, how much they've moved since the previous survey. So all of that is helping us understand the system over time and how it's evolving.
And I remember back in 2012, I had a research student working in the same area, doing also a short coastal monitoring project over 1 year, and just using a DGPS. And I think the findings of the project was that the beach levels, the vertical beach level, changed by 4 meters between seasons, winter and summer. Did you get similar results? Or?
Well, what we're finding is that, sort of, I don't know what section of the beach you were looking at, but, sort of, it was the furthest north section of the beach that was eroding, and there was a breach that started off maybe 100 meters, and it's widening, and there's been, since we've been looking at it, which is over 10 years now, there's been incredible change. You go there season on season, and, sort of it's...
But I mean, like the vertical sediment levels, have you measured those?
We have, yeah. We've measured profiles across the beach.
And what would be the difference between summer and winter? How much sediment is lost during winter storms and then replenished back?
Well, I suppose it depends on what parts of the beach, sort of, that you're looking at.
What's the most extreme?
Yeah, you were looking at a few meters difference, in certain cases, sort of. So it depends, sort of. Sometimes we're looking at the dune. There was a dune there the last time we monitored, and that's gone now. Okay. So like the profile has changed completely in that period. And we tried tracking the sand using coloured particles, you know, so...
Did it work?
No, it disappeared, you know, so it's a very mobile, dynamic system, you know, sort of that's hard to monitor, you know, sort of, and
do you still continue doing
we
it?
do, yeah.
So you've been at it for like 10 years now?
10 years now, yeah. Like, and what we're hoping to show is to validate the predictions that we made 5 or 6 years ago and justify...
At the time you already ran the model?
We run the model, yeah.
So do you see any matches?
We do, yeah. We, in terms of where the sand is moving at the moment. And I suppose that decision, we were advising Kerry County Council and the OPW at the time that, you know, if you shouldn't interfere with this system, you know, in terms of physical works. You know, sort of what we were sort of saying is that a more managed retreat sort of approach should be adopted because, you know, sort of, you know, the ROSSBEIGH beach was a barrier beach that protected areas behind it, and those areas were being affected now because the water was coming through the breach. So if you're doing any protection, you protect those properties rather than doing anything directly on the beach.
I remember actually back in 2014, I got contacted by Irish Times and they asked my opinion about the same thing, I think after the winter storms.
Yeah.
And at the time, just from the top of my head, I said, I understand it's very expensive and it's not going to be done, but in my view, it's a good idea to put offshore wave breakers to actually slow down the erosion and change it more towards the positional environment. If money wasn't the issue, would you agree with this, or do you prefer to do nothing?
I prefer to do nothing because at the moment you have so much sand offshore, they act as breakwaters, you know, so a lot of the energy now is being broken further
by
from
the sandbar.
By the sandbar. The sandbar swings right down around in front of the beach now, you know, so it's protecting a lot of the beach. What is happening is that there's a longshore current running along the end of the beach, and any sediment is being pushed along that and out of the system, out into the bay, and we think it'll eventually find its way back into the beach again. So I suppose I wasn't in favour of doing any works on that system because it was a completely natural system that was evolving and behaving itself like it always has, and we thought in the past it could have breached as well and repaired itself, so why not let nature do the work rather than...
natural balance.
That's right, yeah.